standing here right by your side. I will be standing here till the end of time. I will be standing here all through the night, till the stars align. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me.
Hello again, guys. This is going to be a slightly larger, longer video, and any of the ones concerning this case that I'm going to be speaking of will be, simply because I want to try and explain my thoughts on it. And it is the case of Carlie Trent and Gary Simpson. Now, the fact is, I started looking into this case because of the Summer Wells case. But the more I looked at it, the more, because I'm thinking there's a connection there, and I believe there is. But the more I look into it, the more I got invested in this case. And it's not so much that Carlie is tugging at my heartstrings as it is, and don't attack me over this, as it is Gary Simpson. I may be wrong, completely wrong about this case, and God forgive me if I am for defending anyone that would harm a child. I do not believe in that, do not, stand with anyone who would harm a child. But I also do not stand beside, I can't stand by while someone who may possibly be innocent of what they're being charged with spends the rest of their life in prison, which is what will happen with Gary Simpson if he's an innocent man. And the reason I say that is because the more I look into it, the more I dig into this case, the stranger it gets, and the more things just don't look right. And I would love your help in helping me dig up these inconsistencies and find out what really happened. But let me read this one thing. This is just one video, and I'm going to read this to you, and listen till the end, okay, guys? Just listen till the end. It says, Rogersville, Gary Simpson, who was accused of kidnapping his 9-year-old niece by marriage in May. This was May of 2016, for you that don't know about the case. Anyways, it was May 4th of 2016, was named Monday in a 3-count Hawkins County grand jury indictment charging him with R of a child, aggravated SB, and his original charge of especially aggravated kidnapping. Now, you have to try to keep in mind, he originally, and had already, by this time, had already went to court over aggravated kidnapping and custodial interference. And I have the video from that court date too. So he's already went to court over those 2 charges. Nothing about any essay or anything to do with the child was brought up in court. The child had been took to the doctor. They had reported that she was fine. Nothing had happened to her. Nothing. Okay. And then after he went to court, after he was in jail over that, then something happened. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But something happened that made them take evidence to the grand jury to try to get him charged with the SA, which evidently worked. Okay, anyways, it says Simpson, 58, 182 Pine Mountain Road, Rogersville, is scheduled for arraignment Friday in Hawkins County Criminal Court. After those indictments were handed down on Monday, a gag order was issued in this case by criminal judge John Duggar, prohibiting, now this is not his family or friends or anybody, prohibiting the Attorney General's office or any law enforcement from releasing information about the new charges against Simpson. Don't y'all find that just a slight bit odd? I mean, we're talking about the Attorney General's office, and they're not allowed to talk about it? Anyways, to go on, it says the Times News has learned, however, that shortly after 9-year-old Carlie Trent went missing on the afternoon of May 4th, several of Simpson's relatives contacted law enforcement and stated they were SA'd by him when they were children. But now this is funny because they supposedly reported it while Carlie was still gone. But yet, when he was arrested and taken to jail and taken to court and got his, all that done, none of this was ever brought up. No charges were filed. Nothing was done to him. But if you'll keep in mind, after these people made this allegation, it was the day before she was found. Anyways, the alleged incidences weren't reported at the time because his family was afraid of him, meaning they didn't report it back when those people were kids because they were afraid of him. But yet they were willing to sit back and allow him and his wife to take custody of Carlie and her little sister for over a year while their father sat in jail. But they thought that was completely fine. Okay, although those reports weren't confirmed by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, which means that they could never prove it, TBI spokesman Josh Devine stated on May 11th during the course of the investigation, authorities have developed specific and credible information which leads law enforcement to believe the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily harm or death. Now, that came out on May 11th, the day before she was found. In a statement to the police, however, Simpson claims his motives for taking the girl was to remove her from her home because he felt her father favored her sister. And that goes along with everything I've ever heard. He said he was trying to protect her, is why he took her. Anyways, it says Simpson, who underwent a mental evaluation and a forensic evaluation this past summer, claimed that his plan was to take the child with him to live at a friend's house in Roanoke, Virginia, where he would raise and homeschool the child. Instead, Simpson and the girl allegedly spent 8 days camped in a rural area of Hawkins County near the Hancock County line. Simpson picked Carlie up from school the afternoon of May 4th after telling school officials her father had been injured at work. He and his wife had custody of the girl in the recent past while her father was in jail, and Simpson was on her approval pickup list at the school. On the evening of May 12th, they were discovered by a civilian search party camped in Simpson's van under some trees in a remote pasture off of Gravelly Valley Road. Simpson was initially charged with especially aggravated kidnapping, a Class A felony punishable by 15 to 25 years. R of a child is also a Class A felony punishable by a minimum of 25 years in prison. It is the policy of Times News not to use the name of victims in news coverage of S-based crimes. This case, however, garnered national attention and the victim's name was widely reported, which is why her name was used in this report. Now, going back over here to where it's talking about the kidnapping and the R of a child is a Class A felony with a minimum of 25 years. I'm going to end the video here, but just keep in mind, I mean, I'm going to continue reporting on this and digging into it. But if R of a child, which it wouldn't matter if it was 1 or 100, they deserve to be buried. But if R of a child is a Class A felony, punishable by a minimum of 25 years in prison, why did Sherfy Jr. get off with only 6 years with what he was caught with? And I told you a while ago I would tell you what their evidence was in this case to charge Gary Simpson with R of a child. There was no evidence. The child was not medically deemed to have been assaulted. Supposedly, after the initial investigation where they went in and did forensic in the van, the conversion van that Gary Simpson drove, and they searched it, and the man went to jail, the man went to court. Sometime after that, somebody supposedly found a piece of paper in that van that stated a list of things he supposedly wanted to do to the child. And then after that, at some point, somebody talked to him, and he supposedly made the claims that he had done a couple of them. And that is why this man is sitting in prison for 25 years. I'm sorry, folks. To me, something smells fishy in this case. And I'm going to keep digging, because you don't come up after a man's already gone to jail, went to court, done all that. The van was already searched and cleared, and then sometime in the following year, a piece of paper is suddenly found, and then now this man's spending the rest of his life in prison. Sounds fishy to me. How about you guys? Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next video.